What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Down South Off-Road and Outdoor. Now, you may have seen that Bella got a little love this week with the new headlights and, hell, I don't even remember. Oh, a light bar. But guess what? It's Lagatha's turn to get some love. So we've got a lot of factory plastic still on this Jeep, and that's got to go somewhere. So today, we're going to be taking off that factory rear bumper and replacing it with the Smittybilt XRC Gen 2 with the tire carrier and Rotopax mount. Stay tuned. All right, guys, there's my tag number. If you want to stalk me, go ahead, just do it. There's that ugly gray squared up bumper. All right, let's get that ruck rack off and start tearing stuff down. So we've been so in love with this bumper on Kim's Jeep for the last year. It's held up to all the abuse. The finish still looks awesome. It's packaged very well. As you can see, tons of packing to make sure it's safe. It comes with lights already included, so we don't have to buy any aftermarket lights. It comes with a high lift jack mount. It comes with a bottle opener, and it comes with a Rotopax mount. So this thing's like a Swiss Army knife of bumpers. And Mike's just so excited about helping put this on.
Jumping up and down.
Jumping up and down, folks. Looking at the packages in the box, those are the LED reverse lights.
It's actually metal housing, it feels like, too.
Nice. I couldn't remember if they were decent. I do know that they are pretty bright for what they are. However, I don't need any help in the reverse light department because those backup lights are the brightest things on the planet.
Yeah, I don't need much help in any of the
Hey, you know what, Mike? hey, this will be the last lights for, no, we're doing DCS rock lights on Kim's. But after that, these will be the last lights.
You got a harness.
So they give you a full
switch.
harness for a switch. Nice, okay.
So if you want to use them as a fog light or a reverse light, you can use it as either. So we could hook them up as rear fog lights if you wanted to. And it comes with directions.
Which are
Don't
very,
use two
very.
wires.
3 wires, got it. All right, what kind of hardware do we need? Not sure what that
I
is.
think that was one of the third brake light pieces or something.
No, I think that one goes inside the frame.
Maybe.
And that's a frame stiffener for the pivot point.
Yep. We can go and check them out. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that goes inside. It's nice and greased up for you to get everywhere. And what else?
Another bracket.
I think that's a CB antenna mount for the rear.
Very possible.
I think so.
Hardware.
All right. So overall, packaged
hardware.
very well. I think at least that'll replace the horrible bolts that we just struggled to get out.
Some more hardware. And these are the ones that have to be fished up into the frame. This is a nut.
Oh,
Bolts
gotcha.
get used on it. And we'll slide this up to a frame hole and put the bolt in it, and then cut the wire off.
Nice. Look at him being thoughtful. All right. Did I see a Smittybilt decal in here? Uh-oh. Boom. I've got a shortage of decals. If you want to, well, most of them are on the ruck rack. These are the ones that made it to the window. The window ones are my big ones. That's my favorite ones.
The favorite.
Yeah, then the others go on the ruck rack. Will Mike use instructions? Or is he gonna wing this shit?
We'll get the instructions just to see if it works. See if they're right.
Yeah, there you go. Not because you need it, because you don't. You've done enough of this shit. So guys, the reason we're doing this review is because when we put this bumper on Kim's, we didn't do an individual review. We just did it as a whole video of Kim's build, which was a disservice to you guys. So I'm bad for you. I do want to show you the instructions. I think are very clear. I mean, the pictures are very nice printed instructions. The font is a size that I can fucking read, Mike.
Yeah.
It's not like tiny micro. So step one, it's telling you to install the lights. But yeah, just they go really in depth here. So kudos to you, Smittybilt. Yeah, and that's a true tow hitch. It's tow rated.
So yeah, it'll pull out 2,500 pounds. That sounds good to pull.
Hey, 3,500. I can tow 3,500 pounds in my Jeep. But guys, seriously, look at the finish on this thing. I mean, it's not a bad looking finish at all. Very, very smooth. It's braced up well. And I think this is still one of the only truly tow rated bumpers you can get for the Wrangler. There's a few out there, but most of your cheapos don't have it. So these things are plastic, and they're designed so that they skid off of rocks, and if you damage them, instead of replacing the whole bumper, you can order these individual pieces from Smittybilt. And you can also color match them to your Jeep if you want to add some flair to it. Right. All right, guys, we're going to go through the rear light install on this thing. And like Mike said, it is a nice metal housing, so it's not like a cheapo. And you're basically doing what, popping those plastic tabs on?
Yep. The light just literally snaps into that piece.
Gotcha.
A lot of automotive manufacturers use that from the factory on corner lights and tail lights and stuff.
Gotcha.
As an assistant to hold it in, not completely to hold it in, but
Gotcha. Nice.
these are tucked away. So it's not really...
All right, so I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. We may have already done this before. Look at him looking like a pro. So this is the bracket that your light is going to clip into. And that bracket is on slides. So you can put that light as close to the opening, outside of the opening, or recessed from the opening. And we are opting to recess the light a bit because I don't want to risk kicking it.
These are lock nuts, so you need to have the little rolled part to the outside of the bolt.
Good to know, Mike, because I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so you don't need Loctite or anything like that. Sometimes you do need help getting the socket off though. So we got a little square hole in the middle of this bracket here that the wire is going to go through. You can fat finger it in there. And we'll pull it through.
That was almost like watching a porn, Mike. I felt dirty.
And it's going to squeeze in between those little fingers real snug. And it clicks in place.
Nice.
The light is installed.
Boom. Expertly. Still in Robbie Layton's catchphrase, guys. Expertly installed.
This has got the nuts that hold the bumper on because we can't reach in there to get to them with the bumper installed. So they fit the frame, and all we have to do is start the bolt, and it'll hold itself. We don't have to get in there with a tool.
That's exactly what I was saying it was. It's a nut plate. Very important to have a nut plate. Yeah, look at those instructions, how well.
This one is the frame stick.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. I knew that strengthened it up for the spare tire hinge.
Yes.
So out of all the cords I could have chosen to run my Cutco brake lights through, I chose that one.
Yeah, and we need that one.
And we need that one. So,
Oh, there's a connection right here.
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's got a little waterproof connector underneath. Sweet, no cutting.
It's to the outside for the bumper bracket. And if you notice inside, there's only one nut to the inside up here.
Yep.
It goes to the inner side with the blank hole closest to the back.
All right.
It says on some variations of frames, you have to hammer that in. This one, we've got plenty of room.
It's like
That
throwing a
should
hot
be-
dog down the hall, guys. Plenty of room in my frame. It has been reamed out. One thing to note, when you buy this bumper, it doesn't come with the carrier. So it is a separate purchase to get the tire carrier that goes with it. And that's why you'll notice you have this hole right here, but it's got a plate covering it. This kit will include a new plate that has a hole. And again, man, they are packing the hell out of this stuff. Very, very good job with the packing. And honestly, these bumpers, I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not as crazy as some on the market. So they're taking some pride in what they have. Yeah, there we go. That one goes to the door with it.
This is the one right here.
All right, so that's the big pivot point with the big brass bushing. And I will say that, like right now, Kim's is very, very hard to open. I'm guessing that we need to get in there and somehow grease it, but it is really hard to open. So just remember that, guys. This is going to have.
Right here that'll go in.
I don't think I see that on hers.
But I think hers, the something hit it. Something was in the
Gotcha.
if I remember
So,
correctly.
so yeah, so it looks like it has a Zerk fitting for greasing. God, that's so beefy. Mike is categorizing his bolts by length. Mike, what's the next step?
We're gonna start putting this shit together.
is that the technical?
Yeah.
All right. So we don't know what he's doing, guys. We just know he's got a handful of shit. All right.
So what we're gonna do is slide this bracket in where it goes. We're gonna take a couple of bolts and start them into these greasy holes.
Come around, get your greasy hole bolting. If I need to put this thing on a tripod, I can.
And we'll take a nut on a stick.
I know they want to see that nut on a stick.
We'll slide it into the cross member in place, and then this bolt will go from the inside of the frame
Out.
out into it as soon as we get the right combination of bends.
That seems like a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's a Jeep, so I would expect no less.
I'm trying not to take that personally, Mike.
I would tell anybody with a Jeep, so don't. It's not just for you. It's not just against you. No, they're great. They just always usually dirty.
All right, guys. So when you buy this bumper, it comes with a solid plate over the hole where our tire carrier hinge is. So we're taking this plate off so that we can slide this bumper on and slide it over the hinge. Ta-da! And there's a hole. So the next thing he's going to be doing is drilling out these holes to 1/2 inch. So I think all of them, yeah.
Yours are already there, except for one here.
So Mike feels confident for a dry fit of the bumper, so he's removing the bolts that we put in the pivot. And that bitch is heavy. So he's snugging the two center and leaving the outside loose.
Yeah, because we're going to be taking all these right back off to secure the rest of it.
All right, so things look good underneath, so he's going ahead and snugging those outside bolts with the two center bolts. It's gonna look pretty cool, guys. So now they did a dry run of the the bumper test fit. He's going in and you're snugging everything down, right?
Yes, sir.
The Hugga Duckies.
Alright, so that's good. Now we break off our welded rod by rocking it back and forth, as they say.
Boom.
Voila.
That was easy.
So now we can actually put the bumper on.
But one thing we're gonna do, guys, we noticed that that plate is covered up by the tag. And I can't just have a silver plate because my Jeep's orange and black. So Mike is gonna paint those silver plates in copperhead. So we're gonna go ahead and take those off. He's gonna paint them, and then we'll install them at a later date because we like to be complicated and do things the hard way. All that silver is gonna be copperhead on it. When you're looking at these instructions, there's an extra bolt and a nut plate that you see in here, but there's not a place in the instructions to actually use it. And what we found out is when you open the instructions for the tire carrier, you can plainly see where they're telling you to drill a hole in the frame.
For the bottom tab that there's no hole for.
So yeah, and that's a 1/2 inch.
So yep, drill a 1/2 inch hole.
Drill a 1/2 inch hole. So I'm so glad that we didn't go ahead and mount the bumper on because you couldn't get to it at that point. So if you're running the tire carrier, get those instructions out as well to follow along with these instructions. All right, so Mike is gonna be drilling through the frame. There's a hole in the bottom of this already. So he's bolting it back on so that he knows where he needs to drill that hole through the frame. All right, now he's gonna drill. So that's a big chunk of metal he's drilling through. It's a 1/2 inch hole that he needs to make. So he's gonna get a bunch of smaller bits and step that thing up, and he's using Cool Cut on them because he's just a fucking professional.
Well, you have to do it low speed and to keep you from smoking your drill bit in the first minute or two.
All right, guys. So it looks like this one is gonna take the last nut on a stick. So he's gonna run that bolt through the bottom and bend that over.
And we're gonna take the bolt back out because we have to have all that off. We're gonna put the bumper on and then go back and do all over.
I'm telling you guys, I'm confused with all these steps. I'm just following mine. So we got the 2 end bolts. They're not tight, they're just on. And now he's going and snugging up the center 4 bolts that you saw us put in where we drilled out the 1/2 inch holes. Once those are tight, you're gonna snug up the ends, right?
Yep.
And you can see how this kind of sits in here with the brass bushing.
We have to get it nice and centered up and whatnot before we tighten it all down.
Yeah. So putting the finishing touches on, tightening everything down. And one thing you want to make sure is that you can see daylight all the way around your pivot. Now the hard process of hoping that nut plate stayed where it was at. So don't go into this thinking it's going to be an easy 4-bolt bumper install. It is not at all like your front bumper. Because remember, this is a tow-rated bumper.
Many months later.
He got it, guys. Nice. Put the fury of Thor into it. All right. That's how it's done, folks. It's never gonna break. Hey, you were glad you had that damn rod though, weren't you?
Yeah. We have to
All right.
out of it. We'll be cutting a hole in the frame.
So I mentioned it earlier how well this stuff is packaged, but looking at it now, I mean, your tailgate carrier is laying on a big piece of foam, and then they tape this whole thing up, and it is completely wrapped in foam, guys. So they really do care about it getting to you in good shape. So this is the plate that's going to go onto our tailgate. These pieces he's got here are the extensions for your third brake light.
It's adjustable for tire height.
Yep. I think this bumper will support up to a 40 inch. I think. I know it'll support 37 because Kim just ran to 37. And I think she still had a few slots left on this piece. So these are a little complicated. Well, that one's a little scratched, but the tire's going to be behind it. So this was a little complicated. I remember it giving us a fit last time. But
the adjustment was a position.
Yep, 100%. All right. So yeah, so everything's in a bag. Everything's labeled with numbers on it that correspond with the instructions. Just very nicely done. So, you know, I've got this raggedy vent on here that Mike was giving me shit about because it's just falling apart. Cool thing is, it's going away. So you just pull it out. Who cares if you break it? It's a piece of shit.
It's got little tabs here that if you do care, you can
you can push in.
reach in there from the corners and bend them down. This one's already fucked, so.
Yeah. Exactly what he said. It's already fucked, guys. That's fine. Look how pretty that copperhead is, guys. They only, just for your own knowledge, they only made this color in 2014. That is it. It was a 2014 exclusive. So if you want it, you got to find you an old one. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm fucking exclusive, Mike. Did you hear that pat on the back, guys? I got a pat on the back. Make sure you keep your factory bolts that were holding on your factory tire carrier because you will be using those again. Well, that's way cooler looking than that factory vent.
I've never seen one.
I know, right? Too bad it adds an extra 30 pounds to the tailgate.
And then you get all the other bullshit on there. That's fucking...
Guys, I will tell you that if you're going for lightweight, this ain't the one.
This is not it.
This is not it. You need to find you an aluminum bumper, maybe the Poison Spider aluminum brawler bumper, but this guy is all steel and it's about, what do you think it weighs? Probably 200 pounds?
Well, they brought the bumper and the tire carrier on the pack.
Well, I'll tell you this. I looked back at the shipping. The shipping weight for the front, for the rear bumper and tire carrier and the Poison Spider steps was 416 pounds. So we are adding 416 pounds.
Less 3 cardboard boxes.
Yeah, minus those 3 cardboard boxes to the Jeep right now. The next thing is the tailgate bump stop. It's like a little piece of polymer or polyurethane or something, and he's got 2 bolts that's going to be running through that.
We'll go in right here. We're not going to tighten it yet. We're just going to get it hung and throw all the hardware in the floor.
Yeah, fuck that hardware. All right, next we're going to install this turnbuckle.
It
looks like that.
It says usually 2.5, but they're more like 2 3/4.
All right.
And put a washer on them. Drop it down through there, and we're going to do another washer. There's several nuts in that package. There's some of their lock nuts and some of their jam nuts. The jam nuts are narrower, and they have no lock. If you notice, there's no lock.
Gotcha.
We'll spin it up on place.
And we'll leave it loose.
Yep. We'll get
All right.
it a little more tight than that.
Look how sexy that is, guys. I was talking about Mike.
Yeah.
Holy crap, guys. So on Kim's, this was a matching, you know, polished, not polished, but a matching brushed aluminum or brushed stainless. They have damn polished the new tire carriers. And the funny thing is these have been out of stock. So I'm guessing this is something they're doing now. Either way, it's not going to look like that. We're going to paint it. So if you're interested in painting it, all you need to do is drill out these rivets and then, you know, paint it. And I think you're going to put rivets back in it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So Mike's going to stick it in the hole. And basically you need to line it up with the tailgate, and they provided some spacers. So when you say level, what are you looking at
We
level-wise?
want this turnbuckle, to be as flat as possible.
Gotcha.
Because when you're opening the door with the tailgate assembly, this guy's going to pivot at a different range. This tailgate will stay connected to the tailgate now. When you open it, it'll open as a pivot.
So you don't want it to be all
And
crooked
with
and
all the
wonky
weight,
when it
if
opens.
it's bound up, it's going to make it much more hard to open.
Yep.
Than more than the 150 pounds of tire that's on it. It's really, really flat. We've got the plate on the tailgate just about all the way up with no shims. So this particular application fits pretty good with no shims.
So that bump stop, he's going ahead and snugging up because it's right in line.
We're going to get it adjusted so that it fits, which right there is not it. We're going to have to go up just a little bit.
So guys, when you buy the bumper and the tire carrier, you got about $950 in both pieces. And if you think about the machinery and tooling and things like that that's needed to make these pieces, I don't think that's a bad price.
See, when we open it, that turnbuckle turns.
Nice.
And it makes it work together.
Yeah, so you can actually see it kind of twisting.
But the real kicker here is when it's latched, you want that guy to be real snug or it's going to rattle like crazy. So we'll give it a couple more twists.
And so what you're doing is basically
twisting the large nut in the middle, and what that's doing, it's either going to make it longer or it's going to make it shorter. It works like a tie rod end. If anybody knows how a tie rod end works, when you adjust it, you see now we're nice and snug, no rattle, and we're opening.
Nice. So he's just putting the castle nut on the bottom of the pivot. That's about it. One thing we noticed is that castle nut was really far away from where the cotter pin is going to go. So if you look at the instructions, it does recommend putting a couple spacers on the bottom. So you're going to run 3 spacers.
Yeah, I'm going to put all 3 of them in there so the pin will go through the nut itself instead of under the nut.
All right, so the spacers are on.
Let's see, now the pin will be going through the nut itself right here, whereas the nut was above it, and it could spin. Not that it's still not going to come off, but it'll get loose and maybe rattly and grease start squirting out of it and stuff. We've got our grease fitting installed at an angle that we can access it. So we're going to tighten this inside one first before we put it all together, because it's a pain in the ass to get to it if you don't.
Yep.
Like we learned that last time. And you have to tighten the hell out of it for it to actually be tight in between those bushings so it doesn't rattle. So you'll have to give it a couple
Ooga doogas?
ooga doogas.
All right.
We'll connect this section. So now we will adjust. We've still got a long way to go. So we'll crack the door open here. We'll make our turnbuckle shorter. Close it again and check for tight fit. Pretty snug there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Mike.
So for good measure, we'll give it about a quarter of a turn. So it's nice and tight. Because nobody likes a loose turnbuckle.
Nobody likes to lose anything.
Alright, so now we can tighten the jam nuts on that portion. Tighten in the bump stop.
It's tight in that bump stop. This is the worst part of this bumper. We remember it being super difficult last time, and that's no different. So it's great because you get to this point and you think you're almost done. But these studs that they send, I mean, you've got to press these in, and it is not in any way, shape, or form an easy task. So if you don't have a very, very capable garage, this is going to be a rough time for you. Would you say that's true?
Yes. You would have to have a very strong impact gun and plenty of time for a press. Or a hammer and a sure shot.
All right, guys, so we're using some of the styrofoam packing that came in the package to put under it, so maybe it doesn't get scratched all to shit. And to space that out, he's using a deep well socket. All right, I think it's moving.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, Mike got a lot of practice doing this as a young adolescent teenager. So he's built up some muscle memory.
We call it a life skill. If they're not in straight, they'll not fit your lug pattern. Your wheel will not go in there correctly. See how it bends it a little bit? But when we tighten it down, it's gonna fucking pull on it anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, guys, we have all three pressed in. What's next, Mike?
We're gonna assemble the tire mounts. At least that's what we think we're gonna do.
Hey, it's good to have a plan. All right, guys, to put that piece together, you can adjust for the offset and thickness of your tires. So we're going ahead and just running it all the way out. But you can see you got a ton of adjustability there. You've got like 3 other holes. So depending on what size wheel and tire you're running or what size your offset is on your wheel, you can space it out. So for my wheels, that thing definitely needed to be on that last hole. So we were right there. We know we got that right. So what he's going to do is he's going to fit that bracket onto the spare tire. So what we're doing is he's taking a measurement to see where he needs to line that bracket up with the tailgate.
So on the ground at that top hole, we're about 17 1/4. So when we come here, 17 1/4 would be here, and that's going to be touching it. So we'll move up here
to the
and
third.
that's going to give us, you know, maybe a 1/2 inch or so under it.
Okay.
So that should be our sweet spot right there.
Okay. Third hole down.
Because that's going to be right at 1 inch higher.
Well, would it hurt anything to run it in the second one?
It's just going to cut down your visibility.
I don't give a shit. I'm putting that camera back there.
From the top.
Let's put in that second one. We're going to put it in that second one to get it a little higher. And the reason for that is because where those lights are located in the bottom, if that tire is kind of covering up those lights, you're not going to see a lot of the shine. So I'm going to have to put the camera down and help Mike. But as you can see, what we're doing is running up to that second bolt. Let me come through and help you. We're gonna open the Rotopax mount now. So one thing, I think this thing was designed to flip the other way, but because of the offset, I need the flat edge towards my tire. 4th hole, top hole, 2nd hole. That's our little song, guys, of how we remember this shit. So hold on, I'll come hold that. All right, guys. So that is the Rotopax mount on the Jeep. I think that went a little better than the last time. And then, so these holes here, these are for your high lift jack. This hole here is for a CB antenna mount.
Huh?
Where is our high lift jack? I don't have one yet, Mike.
Oh, okay.
I don't have one. Kim has one. I don't have one. Don't rub it in. Well, I'll use hers. All right, guys. So, as you can see, it's flat up against it, but it fit. So even with my wheel having that positive offset, it fits. So we're not completely finished with this. As you can see, we've removed our silver plates, and Mike's getting ready to remove this chrome plate, and he's gonna paint those up and match them to the body, and then we'll put them back. But looks pretty cool. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hey guys, so one thing we forgot to film is we almost forgot the damn reverse lights. So you don't really need to see it. We're just gonna take these wires, plug them in, and then tap into the reverse light that's up by the tail light. So easy peasy. We'll have Mike open the door in a little bit, see how it feels. And nice. How's it feel? Did it feel a lot harder or not too bad?
You know, it's got tension, but the weight of it gets the momentum going. I would be more worried about stopping it on the hill than I would be.
Nice. All right.
It goes out against the lock.
Yep.
And you can rock the Jeep with it.
Yep. All right. Mike, is that it?
That'll be it. Till next time.
All right. Till next time, guys. As always, if you like what you saw, make sure to follow, hit the little bell, all that shit, and we'll see you next time, guys. He's just clipping these rivets off so that we can paint it. I don't know what Smittybilt was thinking, polishing this piece and leaving the other ones just brushed, but here we are. So like I said, when I ordered this, guys,
You can flip it over and have the brush side on.
yeah, when I ordered this, the tire carrier was on back order, and so this is what the other stuff looks like, and that's how Kim's looks as well. But they have, I guess now they're starting to polish stuff. So we're gonna have that painted orange. All right, guys, so there's the finished product with the ruck rack all mounted up to it. You can see it looks great on the Jeep, and it's gonna look even better once I get the painted items back on it. Hopefully that'll only take a few days to get that back, and we'll be ready to rock.